So you've probably seen the images of Google's artificial intelligence, Gemini, and you've had your laughs and wondered what's going through the heads of these left-wing extremists. Why is it that they hate white people so much, right? So you've had your laughs, but honestly, we have to take this seriously because it is. This is no joke. This is a serious business, and they told us that it didn't matter when we pointed this out in movies, in video games. What do you care? It's not even real. And then when they do it with historical figures, what do you care? What does it matter if this artist or this scientist was white or not? What does it matter? Well, it obviously matters to you. That's the first thing you need to address. Does it matter? It definitely does, because clearly it matters to you. Clearly you made a conscious decision to erase white people from history. It's not me doing it, it is you doing it. It is you that the moment in which you ask the artificial intelligence to generate a photo of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Scandinavian woman, you got it to answer in this way. Sure, here is a photo of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed Scandinavian woman. And it is an Indian woman with dyed hair and what I can only assume is contact lenses. The answer is, the woman is not even natural blonde, let alone ethnically Scandinavian. You gave me an Indian woman with dyed hair. And the artificial intelligence, because it is intelligent, it replies, I can't generate images of that. Try asking me to generate images of something else. And if you specifically ask for a white person, give me a strong white man, it will say, I cannot give you that because it just reinforces stereotypes of the white privilege and the patriarchy, and I just have more diverse options to offer you. It has been programmed to give you ethnically diverse answers to everything. So if you want to see a picture of a pope, what it gives you is a black man as a pope, which could well be. Yes, this is perfectly possible. Now, an Indian woman, no. First of all, she's Indian, right? And she's a woman. So there's no way in which you can have a woman pope, because that is just like having a woman man, which apparently these days can possibly be a thing. I mean, we cannot... Here are images of an American woman, 4 black women. Okay, yeah. Why is it that you cannot offer a single... Well, because it's been programmed this way. Even more ridiculous. Could you generate an image of a couple in 1820, Germany? Okay, this kind of could be the tiniest one, which I doubt it's a coincidence. Now, the biggest one, the more clear one, an Asian Chinese woman with a black guy dressed as if it's... I don't know, like a weirdo, woke, left-wing Netflix series of some sort. Same thing here, and this is even just more... A Native American with an Indian woman, that's a German couple in 1820, which is... All right. Generate images of American revolutionaries, not a single... No, there's a couple white dudes here, but it's going to be at least 50% ethnically... diverse, and this, it goes on, and you know what this... Sure, here is a portrait of famous physicists of the 17th century. Black woman, black guy, an Arab dude, and red hair feminist looking angry, straight out of a pro-choice protest. That's the only kind of association I can make with this hair color, especially in the 17th century. Are you crazy? Well, no. It's not crazy. It is simply programmed to give you these kinds of answers. Images of the British royalty, right. And it goes on. Black, Arab, goes on and on. It just will not give you... Give me an image of Mark Zuckerberg, and... Even with known people, even with known historical figures, it just converts it into a black, Asian, Filipino, or something that is not white, something that is not European white. Why is that? Because they want to erase white people from history. right? That's clearly what they want to do. This is not a joke. This is a real thing. It's been happening. There was a movie, I can't remember the name now. I did a video of this years ago. A meteorologist that broke the record of altitude with a balloon, and he managed to gather data and really, pushing humanity forward. This guy, I think he actually died doing this. The movie was accurate in all of this, except for it was gender swapped. It was a woman. It was a brave, strong woman, blonde, if anyone gives a flying fuck about that. But it was a woman that did this. It was not the man. The guy is an historical figure. The guy is a hero that died pushing humanity forward, and you replace him with a woman. Why? Why would you even do that? Or even doing things like knowingly alter the skin color. Why? Why do you feel the need to erase white people, specifically white men, from history? Why is it that they need to be destroyed? And it's not just Gemini. Even if you ask this in Google, if you ask why the left hates white men, you will not get a straight answer even in the search function. White men are feeling left out of diversity, equality. Well, because they should be. Because they're evil. Because patriarchy. Loss, fear, and rage are white men rebelling against, and it goes on. Notes of some white guys in the regular class war. The leftists hate white people. Yes, they do, but they are right to do so. Explaining white privilege. What is white privilege, really? Is this really the kind of answer I should be getting when I ask why the left hates white men? Because they are privileged, basically? Because they've been privileged so long. White men have been privileged so long that they need to be destroyed. It's funny because it's specifically white men. If you have a black guy or an Asian or Arab or something, but white guys need to be destroyed. And white culture in general, what is that white culture thing? Are you talking about Christian European culture? That's not a thing. That's what I get from Quora here when some people ask that specific question. There's no such thing as European identity or European culture, because the guy from Scandinavia is different from the guy in Spain or Italy or Germany. Really? At some point, but at its core, no, it's not. It's the same Christian values they all share. The guy from Spain, the guy from Germany, the guy from Scandinavia, there was a point in history that in spite of the differences of language, of tradition, they share the same common values that the left hates, which is why they want to destroy European values and tradition. They want to destroy these traditional Christian values of true equality, of men and women having the same rights, of freedom, of advancing economically, of capitalism. These victories that were achieved specifically in Europe through generations, the idea of democracy born in Greece, the rich culture of Rome, advancing civilization in arts, and specifically through those Christian values that they hate so much. If you haven't been to the Vatican, if you haven't been to the Roman Forum, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, you're missing out. And all of this is they're trying to erase it from history. That is no, it was all patriarchy. It was all hateful white men trying to destroy everything. If you have the privilege of visiting some of these museums, that Museo del Prado, the garden, el Jardín de las Delicias, the Garden of the Lights, traditional. Think about this for a second, and it's not the same thing to see it in a screen or in a picture or even in a photograph, actually standing there. How, and this is traditional Christian theology of heaven and earth and hell, and the amount of naked women here. How progressive was it hundreds of years ago? You cannot even show a breast without YouTube, banning you. You cannot have, you cannot show a breast in American TV. That's just too much. People being blown to pieces, you can show that all day long. But a naked woman, by God, dear God, no. A woman breastfeeding is something that even in conservative circles, they think that breastfeeding women is something that the left is all about. It was hundreds of years ago that you had women breastfeeding and women being painted and hanging in museums. Virgin Mary breastfeeding was something that was painted commonly 500 years ago. And you cannot show that in TV today, because someone will get offended. No, you're supposed to replace that with formula. Formula, right. That's what you're supposed to do. Women are not supposed to be women. Men are not supposed to be men, because patriarchy. The tax collector and his wife. The tax collector is actually there with his wife, and the wife is keeping the books. She's reading. Women that were suppressed by the patriarchy never had a job up until a couple years ago, thanks to feminism. No, this is a painting of 1489, over 500 fucking years ago. And women were working, women were reading, women were handling money and counting it and collecting damn taxes. That's what women were doing 500 years ago. And you're supposed to think that it's only now. It's just recent. Women did not have, yes, women, in fact, if you go to any of these museums, most of what you see, I would say that the majority of paintings, Las Meninas, it's all women. The Mona Lisa, it's always women. But we're supposed to think that the evil white male was suppressing women, and it's all about the patriarchy. The traditional art compared to the garbage that we have these days, going into the museum, the Reina Sofia Museum, the first thing you have is the temporary exposition. Right? The modern crap that is now considered to be art. I walk in with my wife, the first thing I see is a penis. It's not even a painting of a tiny erect penis. It's not even a painting because they're incapable of even doing that. No, it's a photograph of an erect dick. That's what they do. A tiny one. A commie penis, small, hateful, envious, full of resentments. That's at least trying to do my best artistic interpretation of what the fuck do you mean with having a gigantic photograph of a tiny erect dick. That's the only interpretation I can have. And then there's another photograph of suppressed workers, a photograph of a hairy armpit of a woman. Yeah, that is art. And I'm not even joking. I tell my wife, I'm fed up of all of this commie garbage being shown as art. This isn't art. I'm just telling that to my wife, and the next room I walk into, it's a bunch of commie flags in different colors. Yeah, the hammer and sickle flag in different colors. That's art. It's boring. It is unoriginal. It is predictable. It is the opposite of this, what true art once was. We're losing that. We had more creativity 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 damn years ago than we have now. We're going backwards. And it is not a coincidence. They want to install that. They want to make sure that we lose that and we forget who we once were. And even if you're not European and you're not white or you're not what, even if you're not that, how that spread throughout the Western world also is something that needs to be destroyed. The traditional Christian values. It's not the Middle Eastern ones, no, the traditional Christian values that allowed people to live in freedom like never before, that is still something that does not happen all over the world even till this day. When they want to install the idea of a black Mark Zuckerberg, remember that in Africa right now, there's more slaves than ever before. And if you think that Asia is any better, China and Russia. China is a communist regime where there's no freedom, and Russia, in spite of what some conservatives may be telling you now, it's not a beacon of freedom either. It's a damn commie dictator. It's a Soviet regime with no freedom. The freedom that they hate so much comes from this place that they want to destroy. The culture that they want to get rid of. And the first thing they will tell you is, there's no white culture. There never was one. You think that a Scandinavian dude and a guy from Sweden is the same as a guy from France or Germany or Spain or Italy? They talk different languages. They have very rich cultures going back thousands of years ago. Yes, they do. But there's also a common value, which is this. The traditional Christian values that they hold so dear and advance society so much, in combination with values regarding democracy, freedom, liberty, getting rid of the tyrannical ruling of dictators and communist regimes, and the destruction of the possibility of advancing through freedom, through democracy, through capitalism, advancing in ways that no other culture ever offers. That's what needs to be destroyed. And that's what they're doing. Slowly but surely, they're erasing all of that. No, there's white scientists. All right, math was created by Arabs. Space was discovered by this black dude. Poetry, this thing here, and woke feminists with microscope. That's the way it goes. Europe never did anything good. And even if you're on the right, Europe is no good either. No, they're all a bunch of liberal commies in Europe. That's what you're supposed to think. Even if you're a right-wing guy in the United States, that's what many of them will tell you. Oh no, guns were Glock isn't from Austria. No, that they're gonna soon enough when they fine-tune it a little bit more, because they have got the creativity to even do this right. They're so blunt, they're so brute. They lack imagination so much that this is the best that they can do. As Tolkien once said, evil cannot create. They do not have creativity, imagination. They're lacking all of that. They can only corrupt and twist. What more of a perfect example than this? Twisting, lying, corrupting of facts even. Lying to your face. Erasing history. But the moment they are able to fine-tune it a little bit more, yeah. Again, even for guns in Europe, never. Glock, Beretta, H&K, no. Yeah, SIG, those are, it was commies that did those. It wasn't European capitalism that allowed that to flourish and spread throughout. No. Guys, we are living in extremely complicated times, in case you haven't, because we're all laughing at this now. We will not be laughing when your children, 10 years from now, tell you that none of this ever existed. We never had European culture. There was never a white Europe. The royal family in Britain, you know that they were black, right? Oh, you're stupid? You're an ignorant old fool? You thought that these were all white people? You thought that white people in Europe allowed the Western Christian civilization to exist and progress in ways it had never been seen before in history of humanity? Now, that is all just the patriarchy, the lies of the patriarchy. It all needs to be destroyed. That's why white men are angry now. Those boomers. Yeah. No, it wasn't boomers. It was history. It still is, in spite of what Google wants you to believe. Guys, see you on the next one. And if you want to be prepared for the interesting times that we're heading into, remember that you have my books, Surviving the Economic Collapse, which we're seeing, and Street Survival Skills. Man, will you need these soon enough, and already as things are right now. Take care.